Thank you.
Thank you very much. I call Graham Simpson to be followed by Daniel Johnson. Mr Simpson, please.
Thank you. Last year I stood here and bemoaned a finance settlement that left councils making cuts, axing services and losing staff. And here we are again. £15 million, a lot of money. Remember that figure, because I'll return to it. Scottish Conservatives will vote for the order tonight because councils need the money. But as Alexander Stewart has already said, our support should not be seen as acceptance that it's a fair settlement, because it isn't. Local government has been squeezed year after year by the SNP. However they try to dress it up or even hide the true picture, councils have been making cuts every year under Derek Mackay and John Swinney. Mr Mackay was once a promising young council leader who stood up for local government. Now he cuts a figure from a Dickens novel. First, you cut a figure from a Dickens novel. First, here's Mr Micawber presenting a draft budget hoping something will turn up, which it surely does in the shape of Patrick Harvey. But at the same time, he's Mr Scrooge, swinging the axe on local government, a complex man indeed. Now, I was a councillor for 10 years, and every year the SNP have been in power, we had to make decisions on what to cut. The council tax freeze was there, so at least that was something, but we held our nerve when that ended and continued it because that's what we had pledged to do. Keeping our promises on tax, what a novel concept. This year, the current crop of councillors were set up to expect a massive cut in their budget. So when that cut was not quite as bad as they first feared, some of the more naive among them were delighted. We've even had the rookie SNP council leader, John Ross, drooling that it was, quotes, the most progressive budget for South Lanarkshire Council for many years, and praising a better than expected settlement. Now, Derek Mackay and his outrider, Mr Harvey, may be able to fool the likes of Councillor Ross, but his council has still had to make £15 million of cuts. There's that 15 million. And is losing more than 100 full-time equivalent members of staff. On top of that, hard-pressed council taxpayers in South Lanarkshire can now look forward to a 3% increase in what they give the council to manage potholes. I can't wait. If that's progressive, then you can keep it. South Lanarkshire is no different to any other council. What about Labour-run North Lanarkshire? Their challenge was slightly easier, but they still had to make £2.6 million of cuts and lose more than 50 full-time equivalent staff. And there's that familiar council tax increase. At least the council leader, Jim Logue, knew who to blame this time, noting the devastating impact that the continued level of austerity enacted by the Scottish Government's lack of support for local government. Well, that just about sums it up. The Scottish people are starting to realise the consequences of the SNP's incompetence on the service delivery of local government. Derek Mackay and Patrick Harvey's annual charade may con SNP council leaders, but not everyone is as easily fooled. We can expect the same dance next year. Now, council staff throughout Scotland could be forgiven for expecting a 3% pay rise. Well, the bad news is the Scottish Government, having created that expectation, won't pay for it. Fair funding, presiding officer? I don't think so.
Thank you. I call